Hosea is continuing the message of Hosea 1 to the faithful remnant, saying, "You're my people." But then the Lord indicts Israel's unrepentant leadership as unfaithful and adulterous wives. Hosea alternates between descriptions of Isaiah's final rebellion against God and the preceding judgment. And so I've actually highlighted these a little bit differently, so you can see how God describes Israel's behavior and how God responds. For she's not my wife, and I'm not her husband. And she's put away her adultery from her face, her adultery from between her breasts, even. Lest I strip her naked and make her as in the day she was born, and make her like the wilderness and parched land, and just it's terrible consequence and judgment. That again, Hosea is going to clarify, it's not just punitive judgment, it's actually redemptive discipline. It's an appeal to avert an even greater destruction. For their mother has played the prostitute. She conceived them, has acted shamefully. She said, I'll go after other lovers. Let's scroll on down. And then God says, but I'll hedge her up with kind of hedges around her and with thorns, and build a wall against her so that she can't continue to pursue this destructive lifestyle. And she pursues other lovers, but she won't overtake them. She's not going to get the fulfillment that she wants out of these other lovers. She seeks them, but she's not going to find them. Then she shall say. I don't think my tongue was prepared to say that. Then she shall say, I will go and return to my first husband, meaning the Lord. I'll actually go return to the Lord. Hosea is given this glimmer of hope that no, there's going to be this repentant awakening in Israel where they're going to recognize, wow, I really was in a destructive spin, and I'm coming out of my stupor, and I'm going to return to the Lord, for it was better for me than it is now. And going on. You can continue to look at that as he kind of explains that further there, and I cover that a little bit more in the notes. Verse 10 is kind of particularly brutal. I will uncover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers, and no one shall rescue her out of my hand. It's kind of like when Amos said, my eye is fixed on you, but for evil and not for good. Yikes. This is also yikes. No one can rescue you out of my hand. And I will put an end to all your mirth and your feast and your new moons and your Sabbaths. And basically, I'm going to interrupt all of these empty rituals because we've got to resettle the heart issue. And this goes on. I'll punish her for her feast days and idolatry when she burned offerings to them and adorned herself with rings and jewelries and went after other lovers, all of that. Basically, this whole picture of God as a jealous bridegroom, wanting to renew the covenant and restore intimacy. And Hosea is going to go on to really outline this specifically. But getting on to verse 14, okay, we're shifting now back to the redemptive narrative where there is a promise of redemption. God promises to guide Israel through a permanent covenant renewal at the inauguration of the Messianic age. This has yet to be fulfilled. Boy, I'm getting deliveries today that are beeping like crazy outside my window. Sorry about that. Hopefully you can't hear that. Therefore, behold, I will draw her. I will allure her. I'm going to woo Israel back and bring her to the wilderness to speak tenderly to her, and I will give her her vineyards. Basically, I'm going to restore all those things that were taken away that she lost in her pursuit of other lovers. And I'll make the valley of Achor a door of hope. Okay, now pause. When he says, I'm going to draw you to the wilderness. Now, literally, as Israel is returning from captivity, as the Messianic deliverer has come, defeated Israel's adversaries, and the captives are coming home, they're actually brought to an area where Israel originally entered the promised land to walk through a ceremonial covenant renewal, where they're actually brought back together to the wilderness at an area nearby where they first entered. That becomes called a door of hope. The valley of, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but that valley of Achor, let me scroll down so I make sure I've got the notes. Interestingly, is on that initial path into the promised land between Jericho and Bethel, in kind of a northeast area to the north and east of Jerusalem, I should say. Let's get on down to verse 16. Oh, it's beautiful because there's this whole covenant renewal. And there she shall answer as in the day of her youth when the covenant was brand new, as in the time when she came out of Egypt, going all the way back to Deuteronomy 28 and all that we looked at in earlier weeks. All of that gets renewed. That's beautiful. And in that day declares the Lord, you will call me my husband. That is the most clear as it can possibly be said since the time of Sinai and since David in Psalm 45. You will call me my husband, and no longer just call me my Baal. Now, my Baal was really like my masters, my master who I was indentured to serve, who I was indebted to, who I owed a duty to. No, it's not just a dutiful service. No, it's a intimacy, a delightful intimacy that Israel experiences as a marriage to their God. For I will remove the names of all the Baals, all of those former masters that you had to serve. I'm going to remove them and you'll remember them no more. All those empty loves that you had are just going to be cast from memory, and we're going to enter a period of covenant fulfillment in the Messianic age. And I will make for them a covenant on that day with the beasts of the field and the birds of the heaven. All of creation is involved in this, the creeping things on the ground. Kind of harkens back to, I think it was Psalm 104. And I will abolish the bow and the sword and war from the land. This is a permanent peace that accompanies this final covenant renewal. And I will make you lie down in the land safely. And I will betroth you to me forever. And I will betroth you to me in righteousness and justice and steadfast love and mercy. I mean, you can see the affection of God really coming through in this language. And I will betroth you to me in faithfulness, and you will know the Lord. And in that day, let me scroll up, sorry. I'm leaving you guys behind. In that day, I will answer, declares the Lord. I will answer the heavens, and they will answer the earth. Really meaning there's agricultural blessing. The rains are going to come, the earth is going to produce, and the earth is going to respond to Jezreel, to Israel, to the people that God has sovereignly planted permanently in the land, is what he's really talking about. It's a restoration of almost like the agriculture of Eden. It's really referencing Psalm 104, almost pretty directly. Which would have been kind of a recent psalm. May have even been a psalm written to accompany this promise. It's really beautiful. The earth will again serve the true Jezreel, the people of God planted in the land in covenant renewal and faithfulness, just like Psalm 104. Okay, beautiful. And then verse 23, and I will sow her for myself in the land. Meaning God is saying, I am the sower. He's using that Jezreel again. I will sow you, plant you into the land myself, and I will have mercy on no mercy. Those names are all reversed. I have mercy on no mercy. And I will say to not my people, you are my people. It's like they're getting renamed. And you are my God. And they'll say, you are my God. So even though it sounded like this hopeless divorce situation, it's really not. It's a redemptive discipline so that the covenant can really take place. So wickedness can be done away with. All those former lovers can be done away with. And a true permanent covenant renewal can take place that will extend across the earth in the form of the fulfillment of the Great Commission. See, okay, that's why we got to come back for a moment to Israel's role in the global restoration. What Hosea is talking about really is Israel's role. There's this salvation of Israel that extends across the nations with such a level of covenant fulfillment that can't happen any other way. And it really does bring about the true fulfillment of the Great Commission in the Messianic age. So all these things that we're talking about, the church has a redemptive role. The Gentile church has a redemptive role. The Messianic population of Israel has a redemptive role. And we get into more of that in later prophets, but Hosea is really setting the stage for how this is all going to really play out and God's commitment and his jealousy to go after his adulterous people, his rebellious people, and still restore them to covenant loyalty and fulfillment. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay,